What's up, you guys? Dork's here back with another action figure review, and today we're going to be continuing our look at the McFarlane Toys DC line by taking a look at none other than Superman. So in my last review, when I did Batman, I asked you guys if you wanted to see Superman or the Batman Who Laughs as reviewed next, and all you guys voted Superman. I was really surprised by that. This also works out for me as well too, because this is my most anticipated figure out of the wave. If you guys remember when I did the first look at the McFarlane Toys figures, I originally said that this one was my most anticipated one. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how this figure lives up to that anticipation. Packaging over here, it looks like it's pretty much the exact same thing we've seen with the Batman DC Multiverse packaging. Obviously, it's just been changed to fit with the character. You got DC Multiverse at the bottom there, Superman 12 plus at the top over there, McFarlane Toys at the top of there, 22 moving parts again at the top over there as well. At the side, you got the exact same sort of thing going along, Superman Action Comics 1000, DC Multiverse, McFarlane Toys at the bottom. Other side, same thing with just the window box going along, and at the back, you got the artwork. You got the artwork by the lovely Jim Lee over here, and as you can see, he is a fantastic artist, man. I guess that this is what all the figures in the line are based off of, like Jim Lee's art style. So we'll have to see how that fits in with this figure. Then you also get Superman Action Comics at the top over there once again. Each figure comes with a collectible trading card. And at the bottom over here, you can see all the other figures that you can collect inside the wave. Over here, it's a little bit different than the Batman one. You got the Superman animated series. You got the Superman armored version. I don't know what it's called. Batman, which we already took a look at. Batman Who Laughs, which I'm going to take a look at. And then the Bat Raptor, which is a vehicle that you can get. And of course, you also do have McFarlane Toys' social media at the bottom there, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have an Instagram account. It's called The Dorcas Night. Feel free to follow it if you like. But anyways, at the bottom over here, you got the rest of the information about the figure. And at the top, you have nothing really much going on. This is what the insert of the packaging looks like over here. And as you can see, you do get a display stand over here, a flight stand for Superman. I'm not going to rip it out because it is kind of attached to the packaging, so if I were to rip it out, it would ruin the packaging. I kind of want to keep the packaging in good condition. Don't ask why. And of course, you do get the trading card over here, which is pretty much the exact same thing that you saw at the back of the box. And then, of course, you get Superman over here. He comes with two pairs of hands, as you can see. He comes with two flight hands, I guess you could say, where they're just open. And then he also does come with fisted hands, I guess. I mean, one's fisted, which is the left hand, but then the right hand comes with, I think it's a trigger holding hand. I'm not exactly sure. And if you wanted to stick these onto the figure, you can. Just take the hand that you want, you plop it right on, and then you take the other hand, and then you plop it right on right there, and then they fit in pretty well. In terms of the figure, however, I think they came out pretty good to say for the most part. It kind of has a weird feeling to it, like a weird sort of texture. Like I said with the Batman one, it kind of feels like it's, as you can hear, it feels like it's really weak, like quality wise. So I wish that they kind of used a different plastic. I'm not exactly sure what plastic they used, but yeah, it just feels really cheap. I don't know if it's just me, but anyways, the head sculpt here looks pretty good for the most part. Those eyes look a little bit weird, if I'm going to be completely honest. I really do like how it looks, though. I think it looks a lot more realistic than the Mattel figures did, so it's good in my book for there. And sculpting otherwise seems pretty good with it. I like the little S that they added up here, and then of course you get the hair, and they even added in kind of like some blue highlights at the top, which is good. And yeah, and the hair is also a separate piece too, as you can see, the line in the hair. So yeah, not bad whatsoever. I like this face. It's a good looking Superman face. Then you also do get the Superman emblem over here, and this is really nice because it kind of has like a shiny red, and it stands out inside the blue of the suit. So I really like that as well too. The muscle structure, of course, does look pretty good altogether. It does look like a pretty beefed up Superman. And although it might be a beefed up Superman, as you can see in comparison to legs over here, which I think is an issue with this figure, the legs look a little bit smaller in comparison to how beefed up he is in the upper body. So that's one of the gripes that I do have with this figure. I do wish that maybe they made the legs a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit longer. I mean, I don't want him to be like towering over other people, but it looks like skinny legs in comparison to the chest over there. I like the trousers though. The trousers look pretty good sculpting wise. Paint wise, it's a little bit lacking, but other than that, it does not look bad whatsoever for a Superman belt and trousers. And the hands over here too do not look that bad whatsoever. I think that they could have used a little more paint on those hands. But other than that, I don't think that they're that bad whatsoever. He also does have these little like bracelet sort of things that he does have in the comics. One gripe that I do have is that I wish that they painted this peg over here the skin tone that he has, because it looks kind of weird just having that rounded edge going into the hand. So that's one thing that I wish that they did add. And of course, with the boots down here, the boots are a separate piece, like the bat emblem was on the Batman, which is nice in my book. I like that fact. But the other thing too is that if you add this piece, and if it's a separate piece, why don't you make it like, why don't you give it the swivel capability? Like, it's a missed opportunity, man. You could have easily fit that in there. It's not that big of a deal, but I felt like it was just something I need to point out. Then of course you get the feet over here with the wrinkles inside of the boots, which look pretty nice. And at the very bottom, you do not get treads like you did on the Batman. And of course the cape over here is pretty good as well too. It's got some nice sculpting in there to show the waving of it. And then on the inside, as you can see, it has the copyright stuff over there. But yeah, this looks pretty good as well too. I do still think, like, it's a software material, I still do think that they should have gone with cloth capes for these figures. As I did say in my Batman review, because these guys like to fight each other. Going through the articulation though, head can move up about that much. I do wish it could have moved a little bit higher than that, as it is a Superman figure and you need to get him into some fight poses, right? So maybe they could have made this back piece over here like they did with the Batman figure a little bit more rubbery, so in that way would have given him more opportunity to look up. But I don't know what they're doing with that. But swivel, pivot, and then arms can move out about that much. He has a butterfly joint in there, so you can shift it forward and back, up and down. And then he's also got the bicep swivel in there, which swivels like that. A single jointed elbow, which is kind of odd because in the Batman figure we saw a double jointed elbow. Now I'm not sure what the consistency is with these figures, but I don't know what's going on with that, man. I don't know. But then, of course, you do get the wrist articulation. It's on a ball joint, so you can move it all around as you please. It's pretty good. I just wish that they painted that as a skin tone. Then, of course, you get the diaphragm joint over here, which allows him to move in about that much and move back at around that much, and then he can pivot that way, he can pivot that way, he can swivel, he can do all kinds of stuff, which is awesome. He can kick forward at around that much, he can kick back and then it goes on an angle, but he can also do the splits. And as you can see, it does use those same joints from the Fortnite figures, and if you guys haven't watched my Batman review, I really don't like these joints, man. Double jointed knees that go in that far, and then you get ankle articulation, which is down, up, bit of pivot, Tasmanian devil sort of stuff, and then toe articulation. As a comparison, here is Superman compared to the rest of the figures inside this McFarlane wave that I have collected thus far. As you can see, I was able to get my hands on the Hellbat Armored Batman, and trust me, that is one awesome figure. And of course, I also got my hands on the animated series Batman, which I was a little bit skeptical of at first, but after owning the figure, I can tell you that's an awesome figure over there. So once again, I'm going to leave a poll up. Let me know what you guys want to see next, either the Batman Who Laughs, the Hellbat Armored Batman, or the animated series Batman. And then as a Superman comparison, as you can see, I do not own a lot of Superman figures. I still have a couple more in other places, but these are the ones that I had on hand. And over here we got the Mattel Multiverse Justice League Superman, and then the Mattel Multiverse Dark Knight Returns Superman. And out of these three Supermans, I mean, they're all different looking Supermans. They all have different styles of their own. But in terms of like quality wise, I gotta say, I kind of like the Mattel one, the Dark Knight Returns one. I don't know. And then if you want to do your own height comparison at home, as you can see over here, he stands at approximately 7¼ inches tall. So final thoughts on the Superman figure over here. I think it's a good figure. I think that the sculpting overall is pretty good on this guy. The paint detailing is pretty substantial to say the least. Just minor little details such as like painting in those ball joints by the hands over there, because it does look a little bit awkward without having those painted in, and stuff like the legs being a little bit too small. It's just small stuff like that, but other than that, I mean, it's a pretty good figure overall. As I've already said, paint and sculpting is pretty good, and articulation is a lot better than what we've seen with like other $30, $20 Superman figures, such as the Multiverse wave. My only real gripe with this figure, I guess you could say, like the one that really irks me, is the type of plastic that they're using, okay? Now, McFarlane Toys, I don't know what plastic, what material you use on your figures, or what sort of paint you put onto your figures, but it makes your figures feel very, very cheap. Once you guys take the figure, you'll know right off the bat of what I'm talking about. because it literally feels, you know what it feels like? It feels like, you remember those soap bottles that you would get as a kid and had like the superhero on the top, or like the character, some fictional character at the top? That's the type of material that it feels like. But if you guys don't really care about the material, you only really care about like the look of the figure and how it can move, it's pretty much a perfect Superman figure. As I've already said, it's just proportions that I think would be the main issue. And if I wanted to go a little bit more over, I would have asked for more hands, as we do not have two fisted hands. We have a fisted hand and then a grabby hand and then two flight hands. So I wish that maybe we got a little more expansive hands like we usually see in those Superman figures, or maybe another head sculpt too, maybe a head sculpt with a laser face, with more emotion side of it. But in reality, that's just me trying to nitpick little things. And really, like, for the price that you're paying for this figure, you're getting a flight stand out of it, you get a couple of accessories out of it, and you get this pretty awesome looking Superman. So in reality, if I had to give this figure a rating, it'd probably have to be a 9 out of 10. It just goes back to what I said with the Batman figure review. There's just some little minor stuff that they're missing, such as the proportion issues, them missing spots to paint. I don't know, man. You know what? I feel like, once again, I think that they should go with cloth capes with these figures. But overall, I mean, it's a really good start. This is a really good start for McFarlane Toys, for Todd McFarlane. And as he's already said, it only gets better from here. It's been a constant problem in all of McFarlane's products. I mean, if you look at the Fortnite figures, when I originally took a look at them, their proportions were all over the place. It was crazy. So that, and then I also know if Todd McFarlane were here with me, he'd probably yell at me, but I still really feel like that these guys need to be a little bit shorter. 7 inches is way too tall, man. And yes, I already heard what Todd McFarlane said. It's good for business if he has larger figures rather than smaller figures, and I completely understand that. But here, I'm gonna make a little suggestion to Todd McFarlane. You have this line for 5 years, right? You have this line for 5 years. Everyone knows that. With all these people asking you for making the figure a 6-inch line instead of 7-inch, how's about you make a signature line, like a specialty line that goes in with the DC Multiverse line, where you have those specific 6-inch figures? You can split up the lines that you already have, because you guys probably, with like 12 figures in each line, in each wave. You can split it up, make 6 figures, maybe even 2 if you want. I don't even care. Just makes like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and all those characters as 6-inch. And then with that extra 7-inch, with all the extra plastic that you have left over, make more details into the 6-inch line. And hell, if you want to charge an extra $10 with it, I wouldn't mind. That way you have best of both worlds. People who like the 7-inch line, they'll collect those figures, and the people who like the 6-inch line, who are all asking you for the 6-inch line, they'll buy those figures. Boom, you got your problem solved. I'm just getting off topic now though, but in reality, if you guys are a fan of Superman, I highly do suggest you guys pick up this figure, because this is still a pretty awesome Superman figure, to say the least. With that being said, guys, we've come to the end of the video over here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this figure. Let me know what you thought about my review. And if you'd like to as well, please do leave a like rating on the video. Like it if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it. And as every YouTuber begs you to do, subscribe, please. With that being said, you guys, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video.
Back to me.